The trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife has finally dropped, and prepare for a shock, some fans on the internet aren't happy. Apparently, the spot's fairly straight-faced, serious tone and mostly youthful cast, which includes Stranger Things star Finn Wolfhard, has a vocal minority of viewers convinced that the new flick will be nothing more than a lowly ripoff of the hit Netflix series. A handful of said fans took to Twitter to voice their displeasure. While it's true that the spot is pretty restrained, foregoing goofy humor in favor of some table setting for the flick's story, one would be forgiven for thinking that the absolutely insane number of callbacks to the original, classic Ghostbusters movies contained therein would have been enough to make any fan grin like Slimer with a mouthful of hot dogs. One would need to have forgotten the nature of the internet, however, to think that's true. There will always be a certain subset of fans who won't be happy with any interpretation of any beloved property no matter what, and the duly elected representatives of this subset were on Twitter in full force this week. Most of their missives were short and to the point. One Twitter user stated bluntly, "The new Ghostbusters movie is gonna be a Stranger Things ripoff." Another peeved user, on the other hand, snarked, "Just watched the new Stranger Things season trailer, and it's called Ghostbusters for some reason." Meanwhile, another irked tweeter complained, quote, "Why does the new Ghostbusters look like a ripoff of Stranger Things? When they had that shot of the two kids walking down the road, I laughed out loud." The same user later tweeted, quote, "Maybe we shouldn't be making any more Ghostbusters movies ever." Jeez, who are these folks?
Some are people who just want attention. Others are just nutballs who come in off the street.
We kid. Anyway, while some Twitter users were obviously displeased, others advanced the same opinion, but weren't quite so harsh. This person wrote, "Stranger Things plus Ghostbusters is probably a smart play, but the trailer didn't feel like Ghostbusters." Meanwhile, this guy actually seemed kinda pumped, writing, "Totally thought this was going to be a fan film when I clicked on it. I am in for Stranger Things Ghostbuster Edition." It's worth noting that, while Stranger Things might have done it best in recent years, the Netflix phenomenon did not invent the plot hook of children and/or teenagers facing off with supernatural danger. One could even make the case that Stephen King's novel, It, which heavily inspired Stranger Things, did that. It's also worth noting that anything, be it a film or a show, featuring Finn Wolfhard thrust into a spooky supernatural situation is going to feel like Stranger Things, if only because it was the retro sci-fi horror series that rocketed him into the public eye. On another note, all of those incredibly fan-servicey small details in the Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer can be seen as a firm declaration of intent on the part of director Jason Reitman and co-director Gil Kenan. They intend to honor the original story and refer early and often to its characters and events, but this is their film, and they're going to tell their own story. Personally, we find that story, which appears to involve the family of the deceased Egon Spengler uncovering a terrible secret in the small town in which dear old grandpa owned an old farmhouse, to be a stroke of genius. And if we're being honest, we also think it's a no-brainer to lean on a young cast, as pointed out by Paul Rudd's character in The Spot.
There hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years.
And the original Ghostbusters, of course, haven't been active during that entire period. Treating the activities of that crew as half-forgotten legend, which our young heroes must be filled in on before they can truly appreciate what they're up against, is an inspired plot device. One that sounds a heck of a lot more interesting than simply throwing the original cast of Ghostbusters, all in their 70s at this point, back into their costumes for one more nostalgic, beat-for-beat go-round. Don't get us wrong, it's awesome that the original cast is involved, and we hope their involvement will be significant, and they won't be simply relegated to glorified cameos. But come on, guys, did we really want Sony to show us everything in the first trailer for the movie? We're actually glad the studio didn't spill all of their narrative beans in this spot. And frankly, we hope they show similar restraint when they inevitably give us the second and third trailers that will likely precede the movie's release. You can bet that we'll be first in line when Ghostbusters Afterlife drops on July 10th, 2020. And also that we'll be here to offer our extra special blend of expert analysis. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.